But it does sound like a lot of like toxic behaviors, like minimal what you see in yourself, and then a lot more of like dealing with the behaviors. I think the biggest thing that comes with stopping it internally is like what we've always advocated before is like there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. I think it was perfect that Brian mentioned perfectionism as like one of the main things that people may be surprised about, but it's like that's something that I've been like consciously aware of for years now, because that's what I like discovered within myself by going through therapy. And I think that people don't realize how damaging perfectionism is, because it just it requires you to be at 100% every hour that you're awake. Like you want to do everything perfect, and if you don't do it perfectly, then you're like ridiculing yourself. You're creating that harmful like subconscious talk to where like when you make those mistakes, you're just beating yourself down, and like it ultimately reduces your productivity and your effectiveness if you let it like if you let it run you crazy per se. Like for me, and I always think of perfectionism, like I think of how when I got into school, like I wanted to have like the best grades, and on top of that, I wanted to have like the best relationship, and on top of that, I wanted to be the best at the job. And it's like it's 100%. It's like wait, it's impossible for you to be 100% at everything that you do. Like you have to be great at that one thing, and then you provide like sufficient energy to everything else that you want to do. So for me, it was like I was running myself crazy at 18, 19 years old, trying to do everything and anything that I did perfect. And it was almost and what hasn't been touched on yet is like it creates this projecting aura. Like you try and project what you think. And I know Brian definitely touched on it before, but you project onto others what you think they should be doing based off the potential you see in themselves or you see in them, not necessarily what the reality is showing of what they're able to do. And like perfectionism, if you allow it, can be beneficial. But I think perfectionism for the most part, because our minds aren't fully developed when we create that false perception of perfectionism, that it does more damage. Because we've seen like people at the top of their game, where there be I remember I was watching this documentary on Netflix for Michael Schumacher. He was an a Formula One racer. Like he held the most titles until Lewis Hamilton broke it recently, I think. Like he was really big on perfectionism when it came to his craft, but he had that healthy balance of knowing that, when you're with family or if you're doing extracurricular things, like that aura of perfectionism isn't required. So you're not projecting onto people in a harmful manner when it's not required.